Yes, my name is Stacy, and I'm a big Arrow fan. I love Arrow. My favorite person is, of course, Nissa. I win! My question is, of course, for Katrina. I was wondering, do you feel any sort of responsibility playing one of the newest lesbian characters on TV?
So you're asking, do I feel responsibility playing one of the newest lesbian?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think one of the great things that the writers did on the show was that they picked Nissa Al Ghul instead of Talia Al Ghul. And it was just so much more fun for the writers and also myself as an actress because the character's never been portrayed before, so we basically had free range of what we wanted to do. And I think one of the lovely things that they did with this character was instead of making her a victim of some kind of past crime that made her become a lesbian or having her kind of go, sorry children, I don't know how to talk about this, but anyway, and not having her go both ways, but just completely let her be who she is without excuse or apology or reason for it. So I think in that sense, I think the writers already took a lot of responsibility for that. But I just think it's so much fun to play the love story, and I think love is love, and it doesn't matter if it's with a woman or a man or who it's between. And I think with anybody who's playing any kind of homosexual character, gay or lesbian, if you stay true to the story, the love is going to come through.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You are wonderful.
I think if Slade and Oliver had just spent a little bit more time on the island without Shadow coming along.
They've spent a lot of time on the island together.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Ruben. Katrina, thanks for the prank. That was funny.
You're welcome.
Congratulations guys on the series.
Hold on, what was the prank?
I was standing in line and I'm reading a comic just to kill time and I didn't notice there was a space in front of me. Katrina jumps in front and I'm just like, wait, excuse me? And she turns on, oh, I'm sorry. I just thought that I could just stand here whenever I wanted. And I was like, no, wait, a picture. Okay, bye. But no, anyway, congratulations, you guys played the roles amazingly. I never thought Slade to be a Kiwi, of all things. But you do it well, man, and I think the way that you added, kind of like Wolverine says bub, the way you say, hey kid, I think that's awesome. But my question is, did you do any research to play Deathstroke in the way that you did? Because in the comics, it's a little more anti-hero, he's not full-blown dark. I know the Mirakuru and the writing had to do with that, but I was wondering if you did any backstory.
Yeah, you know, like when I auditioned for this, I was flying from a USO to a meeting for Spartacus. We were in Kuwait, meeting the US military. And on a last whim, just on a whim, I decided to fly back through the USA on the way back to New Zealand for the Hobbit premiere. And I was only stopping in LA for 3 days, and I got a phone call 5 hours before my plane was taking off from LA to come and audition for Arrow. Now, the funny thing is that I knew Stephen Amell because Stephen Amell had auditioned for Spartacus. He'd come to New Zealand when Andy Whitfield was replaced. Liam McIntyre got that role, of course, but he was one of the 3 people that came in for that. So it was interesting because I'd seen the billboards up for Arrow, and but I didn't really know anything about the comic book. So I went in and did this read for this military guy. I had no idea who he was, but I went over to New Zealand the next day, did the Hobbit premiere. Then I got a phone call the next morning asking whether I'd fly to Vancouver 2 days later to start getting ready for Arrow. And so I had no idea what I was getting involved in at all. When I arrived at Vancouver Airport, the guy in customs heard me talking to my manager on the phone about the character's name being Slade Wilson, because I was on the phone going, well, I didn't audition for a guy called Slade Wilson, it was called Holloway in the audition script. And when I said Slade Wilson, the guy behind the customs desk said, are you playing Slade Wilson, dude? He's like the badass Deathstroke. And I was like, okay, the guy from customs just told me what I'm playing. Seriously. But they were kind of quiet and secretive about it, you know, and even at that point I didn't really know much at all about the show or what I was getting into. As we sort of developed through the storyline, I got to meet Marv Wolfman, who created Slade Wilson and Deathstroke, and then of course George Perez, who painted him for the first time. Now, I started looking at the comic books, but this television show is very different. And they've taken it to some very dark places, i.e. the killing of Oliver's mother. When I saw that in the script, I thought, wow, that's very, very different to the comic book. But, you know, we're doing our own version, and I think, you know, it's gone to places that the fans aren't disappointed in. So, you know, I don't think there's necessarily going to be any buddy-buddy between Slade and Oliver ever again, but, you know, they've taken it to a point where the contrast, the conflict, is going to be at high levels. So, you know, that always works best on television.
It's not the end of Slade, right?
Don't know, mate.
All right, thank you.
Once you kill someone's mom, it's hard to be buddy-buddy with that person again.
He mightn't have liked his mother that much anyway, I don't know.